Hi. So in this session, I want to talk about another problem and we'll solve it in two different ways. Okay. So I want you to print numbers from 1 to n. Okay. So I want you to print numbers from 1 to n. So you get your function will get an input as n, and then you need to print numbers from 1 to n. I want to print it this way. I also want to print it this way. Okay. So I want to print it both the ways. Okay, so the base case, now the base case can be either we can take the base case to be 0, in which case we don't do anything. If you ask me to print from 1 to 0, I won't do anything, right? If you ask me to print from 1 to 1, that can be another base case, in which case I'll only print 1. So now we can decide whether we want 0 to be a valid input to our function or not. If you take 0 to be a valid input, in that case basically what you are saying is that I'll get a 0 and I won't print anything because I'm supposed to print numbers from 1 to n. So if you ask me to print from 1 to 0, I'm not going to print anything. Okay, so let's quickly write another function. Print 1 to n. So in this case I'm going to print from 1 to n and I'm going to get an n. And I'm going to take 0 to be a valid input. So if n is 0, I'm going to return nothing. I don't have to return anything. I just have to print. So I'm returning. That basically means I'm not going to do anything. Otherwise, what do you need to do? Okay. So you want to print numbers from 1 to n. I've taken care of base case. I can assume that the function will work for n minus 1. That means if I call this function with n minus 1, it will print these numbers. So it will print till n minus 1. And if it prints till n minus 1, what do I need to do next? I just need to print n. Okay. So using induction hypothesis, I am going to print 1 to n. I'm going to pass n minus 1, and once I have printed numbers from 1 to n minus 1, I am going to print n. So 1 to n minus 1 is taken care by recursion. I am printing n and I am done. So I can just empty return, or I can just not write return at all. Okay, so let me run all the cells and let's give an input. Okay, I didn't call this function, so let me call the function as well. Print 1 to n and I'll pass n. Okay, so I'm able to print numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so we didn't do this in case of factorial and sum of numbers till n. Let's try to see what exactly is happening in this call. Okay, let's see what exactly is going on here. So I gave it 10 as the input. So what happened? 10 is not 0. So you went to a function print 1 to n. Let me call it p as a short form. You called p10. So for this function, n is equal to 10. So it said, is n 0? No, n is not 0, it is 10. So I asked it to call another function p of 9. Within this p of 9 function, your n's value is 9. Because you passed n minus 1, so when you come to this function again, this time the argument that you are getting, the input that you are getting is 9. Is 9 0? No, it's not 0. So I am going to call again at 8. See, while you're writing the code, don't try to see what is going on, what exactly is recursion doing. Honestly, please don't do that. You need to believe PMI, you need to treat recursion problems like theorems. You need to prove, you need to make sure that you apply each step of PMI properly and your function will work. But once you have written the code, it's not a bad idea to actually see what exactly is going on. So we haven't printed anything yet. P8 is calling P7. And for this n is equal to 8, for this n is equals to 7. Now it's going to call P6 so on up to p of 0. P of 0 will not print anything and it will return. So now P of 1, when you came here with n is equals to 1, it had called P of 0. That has returned. So P of 1 can continue its work. It's going to print 1. So the first thing that's going to get printed is going to be 1. Why? This was the first function which got called, but it didn't print anything. It called P9. Now P10 will print something only when P9 has returned. So P9 doesn't print anything till P8 returns, and so on. So no one has printed anything once you reach P0. After P0, when P0 is returning from here, from the base case, P1 is going to print using this statement, 1 is printed. Then P2, who was waiting for P1, is going to print 2, P3 is going to print 3, P4 is going to print 4, P4 is going to print 4, and so on. Eventually P10 is going to print 10, and that's how we are getting our output. That was exactly how this was working as well. It was exactly working the same way. You asked it to find sum till 5. It said, okay, I'll do that, but let's first call sum of 4. Because 5 was not 0, it called sum of 4. Sum of 4 said, okay, I'll do it, but let me first call 3. Then it said, oh, okay, let me call 2. Then it said, oh, let me call 1. Then it said, okay, let me call 0 first of all. And 0 said, oh, I'm not going to call anybody else. I know what the answer is. It's 0. So it returned 0. When it returned 0, sum of 1 said, okay, so my small output is 0. So my output will be 0 plus 1. Because for sum of 1, n is equals to 1. So it's returning 1. With the same logic, sum of 2 is going to return 3. Because for sum of 2, the small output is 1. It's adding 1 plus 2, 3. Now if you look at sum of 3, it had called sum of 2. So in case of sum of 3, the small output is 3. So it's going to return 6, it's going to return 10, and this is going to return 15. One thing that you need to understand, small output, n, all these variables are created for each of these functions. And they are their local copies. Just because someone's small output is 0 does not mean it has put the value of 0 in all the small outputs. Each function has their own copy of small output and they are storing their own value. Okay, so that's how recursion is working. It's doing a lot of work, but if you use PMI, you don't have to worry about all this work and you can just focus on the 3 basic steps: base case, induction hypothesis, and the induction step. Okay, perfect. So we have printed from 1 to n. Now I want to print n to 1. The reverse printing. Okay, it's actually going to be very, very similar. I want to print n to 1. So n has to be, so again the base case, if n is 0, I'm going to return, I'm not going to do anything. Now, you have to print from n to 1, right? That means n should be printed first and then the last one should print to 1. So if I call the function to print, let's assume that induction hypothesis works. So what you will do with that assumption is print n to 1, we'll call n minus 1. So I'm going to assume that by making this call, I have printed n minus 1, n minus 2 up to 1. And once I return from this function, if I do exactly what I was doing in the earlier function, and once I return and I print n, then what is going to happen? I don't think we have implemented the induction step properly. The base case is correct. Hypothesis is fine. You are saying this call will print n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3 up to 1. But what have you done? You have printed n after this, after the call. you haven't done the induction step properly. So this function is not going to work the way you intended it to work. N should have been printed before doing all of this. That basically means everything else is almost correct. Everything else is almost fine except this. This was the only mistake that we had. Now once I've done this, let's see if this is going to work. Base case is correct. My induction hypothesis is it's going to print from n minus 1 till 1. And before it prints any of this, I am printing n myself. So I have done my work correctly, and now if this function works properly, the whole thing works properly. And I can assume this function works properly because that's my induction hypothesis and it's going to work fine. Let's run this and see if it actually works fine. This time let's try n to 1. 5. Okay, so I want to run this cell. That's the problem. Okay, and you get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's working fine. So how did it work? P n to I, you got 5. It said, okay, 5 is not 0. It didn't say I want to call 4. It first said, hey, I want to print 5. So it printed 5 first. Then it made a call to 4. 4 said, hey, I'm not done. I'm going to call 3, but before I do that, let me print 4. So it printed 4. Then it made a call to 3, which basically first printed 3, then it made a call to 2, which printed 2, then it made a call to 1, which printed 1, then it made a call to 0, and 0 said, I don't want to do anything, let's return. It returned here, you returned to 1, 1 said, I don't have anything else to do, this was the last thing that I wanted to do, so 1 returns to 2, 2 returns to 3, 3 returns to 4, 4 returns to 5, and 5 returns to the caller of the original function. And you have printed the numbers in reverse order. What I wanted to tell you in this, it's not necessary that you have to make the recursion call first and then do your work. It's possible I'll do my work first and then I'll make my recursion call. But PMI still holds, it works absolutely beautifully if you think it the right way. Okay, perfect. Again, please write couple of codes. Please write all the code that is coming in between the lecture, in between the sessions. Only then you will be able to take the maximum benefit out of the next session.